right, folks, grab a seat and pour your drink neat as Whiskers and Whiskeys presents Tales of the Trophies, Season 3, Episode 3. EJ, it's been so long since we talked. How you been, pal?
I am really, really great. For some reason, I'm like really hyper right now, and I'm really trying to figure out like why. I don't think I had a ton of caffeine. I don't know what's going on.
You know,
I am like
I got a little pep in my step. I was like really really sleepy around so we went out on it. The wife and I went on a little date earlier, and I had they had Stone Delicious IPA on tap. I got two of those because it's very rare when you see that on tap. It does live up to the billing. And like after that, I kind of like was a little zonked. My mom is here visiting. She made chili for dinner. It's 100 freaking degrees in Virginia, but you know, we had stuff to make chili, so she made it. It was delicious. And but yeah, I got a little pep in my step now. I did actually just pour a little I am doing a little whiskey here. I know it's unusual for me to drink on these days, but you know what? Drink whiskey anyways. I'm trying to cut back a little bit after all the bad health news I faced last fall, but some comeback. Oh wow, what a touchdown! What a touchdown that was. Boy, where's he from? Who was that? Is that two for Keon Coleman?
See, now you're ahead of me. I don't know how this keeps. I don't know how you like keep going ahead. And
I refreshed my browser. My browser. I guess a little inside baseball for the people that who listened to episode 2 and now listening to episode 3. We are recording back to back, so.
Yes, because of my busy schedule next weekend, we decided that the best way to go about this was to record this back to back.
Coleman's come off a little gimpy, but it's good. We're on a hot. That was a fun one. The last episode was very fun.
Yes,
good trophy, and I know the Victory Bell trophy. I've seen it a couple times, so familiar with this one. And it's a little spoiler, a little teaser. That's what we call in the biz, is a teaser for the fans. Also very much my shit. You know, we're talking old school. We're talking not too flashy, gritty trophy. Extremely my shit. So.
Yes. So as you alluded to, we are talking about the Victory Bell game, and that is played between the Cincinnati Bearcats and the Miami of Ohio Redhawks. So trivia this year is going to be interesting. I'm trying to change it up. We did a lot of had a formula these kind of first 2 years, and this year I'm trying to come up with some new ideas, but we haven't really touched on rivalry trophies out of the state of Ohio beside the Keg and Nails, and we went kind of rock and roll Hall of Fame for that one, and this one's just going to be a little bit more of a basic all about Ohio trivia. However, I love it. In episode 1, I kind of threw some heaters down the center. In episode 2, I lofted a couple, softballs, but we're getting back to some heaters here because I am not giving you any options. You're just going to have to take your best chance at guessing at these.
Here we go. Well, I hate fill in the blank, but we'll do what we can here. So,
all right.
I did grow up in Pennsylvania, so we'll have proximity to Ohio. So we'll see how.
Right. Yeah, and a couple of these, one of these is kind of up your alley as far as your hobbies. So we'll see here.
It is indeed.
So number one,
of them actually.
How many presidents were born in Ohio?
So I feel like this is one. I feel like this is. I think Ohio is one that has a lot of presidents. Like it just makes sense. Ohio's a big swing state. I feel like a lot of things. Ohio's an interesting state. Like Ohio's also like jumping ahead to some of the other questions we have. It's kind of like it's like a test bed for a lot of things. Like all fast food chains, like a lot of fast food chains start there. A lot of like fast foods test their stuff there. It's definitely like what people like. It is a good representation of middle America. Obviously there's a lot of sports stuff there. So I'm going to say Ohio has 5 presidents.
That is a good guess, and your inkling is right. I wouldn't be asking this if it was like 1 or 0. It is a large amount.
0 would be good. 0
would be good. Yeah. It is
that would be super surprising.
It is higher than 5.
Oh wow!
It is higher than 5 by a few, which is really surprising. But it is eight. Eight
Oh,
presidents were born in Ohio. So that would be President Harrison, Grant, Hayes, Garfield, Harrison Jr., McKinley, Taft, and Harding.
hmm. I actually went to the American History Smithsonian with some friends from college a couple weeks back. We were the presidents, Washington, Jefferson, the presidents, and we actually fumble. We actually did pretty good naming the presidents from like front to back in the Hall of Presidents before we got to like where they all were lined up. We got a little muddled up in the early 1900s. That's like the part that's unclear to me, but we got pretty well. Like the late 1800s, early 1900s. Well, actually, we got through the late 1800s pretty well. The early 1900s where it gets a little unclear. There's a lot of like, I don't know who those guys were, but yeah. So okay, so 8. Wow, pretty good.
Yes. All right, number 2. There is one national park in Ohio. Can you name it?
Cuyahoga Valley.
There it is. I was scared. I was like, if Mike was going to be able to pull this out, because him and his wife enjoy a great hike around a national park. So I thought you could know this one. Have you been to this one?
I've not. No,
Okay.
that's on the list. The Cuyahoga River. If you like the movie Major League, the Burn On Big River song at the beginning. Yeah, that's yeah. So yep.
There
Cuyahoga
you go.
Valley.
Number 3. Which city in Ohio was the first to be lit with electricity in the entire world?
In the entire world.
In the entire world.
Columbus.
Columbus? That is incorrect.
Give it a
It
shot.
is actually Cleveland.
Okay. All right. So I was directionally I was on the right side of the state.
You
Directionally
you
correct.
you were definitely on the right side of the state, and if I thought this was the case, but let me double check before I just give fake news here. But I believe it is because no, I guess this isn't really true. I wasn't sure if Thomas Edison, he was born in Ohio, but potentially I probably should have done a little bit more research onto how that was, but I'm pretty sure Edison had something to do with it, and I
I
think
would
it's
imagine.
because
Yep.
he was probably in that area.
I would imagine. Yep. That's what I was
Um,
thinking. Yep. Okay.
Number 4, and I probably worded this poorly because your definition of a fast food chain, can differ. But I'm going to go like traditional fast food chain. So, which traditional fast food chain originated in Ohio?
Well, yeah. I mean, I consider fast food as like having a drive-through.
Yeah.
Does this place have a drive-through?
Yes, it does.
Then it's Wendy's. I
Yes,
love
it does.
Wendy's. It's my favorite fast food chain. There
Mr.
are
Thomas.
many food chains have started, but like Wendy's is for sure the only fast food one. Like Buffalo Wild Wings started there. I
Did the
think
Chipotle? I didn't hear about it
no,
until my.
Chipotle's. I think Chipotle actually started like in. I want to say like I want to say Chipotle actually started like in Washington, like Seattle.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's something weird like that. And then they were bought by McDonald's. I think. I might be getting my wires crossed on that one. Um, let's do some research and see if I'm right. But then I think Bravo, the Italian kitchen, started in Ohio as well. Max and Irma's, I think, started in Ohio. A lot of restaurants started in Ohio.
Yes. Sorry, I agree with you. I'm trying to
You're
figure out
trying to do
where this was.
The Chipotle deep dive for me.
Yeah, open the first Mexican grill. Really, this is not where I thought it was. So the person that created it came up with the idea because he was a line cook in San Francisco and saw how popular
The big burritos,
like
there are,
burritos
yeah.
and stuff. Yeah, and he took what he learned from San Francisco and opened the first Chipotle Mexican grill in Denver, Colorado.
Okay.
Yep,
All
near
right.
the University of Denver's campus. Interesting.
I had
For
a feeling it was West. I
huh.
knew it was like on the West Coast. So I mean, yeah, Seattle and Denver aren't very close at all. But yeah, I knew something like that. And then
Yeah.
McDonald's bought them, and yeah.
All right, number 5, the last one. Which national monument located in Washington, D.C. was designed by Ohio-born Maya Lin?
Uh, well, man, I mean, you got me swinging. I'm gonna go for the big one. I'm gonna say the Washington Monument.
That is incorrect. Good guess though. It
Me.
was the Vietnam Veterans Memorial.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Very, very cool monument.
Yeah, that one is one that I enjoy, and typically when I'm down in that area, I swing past that one.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, well, usually I ask you what your guesses are on what the trophy looks like, but you are aware of it. And actually, I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I had never seen this before.
Oh, really?
No, and I was pleasantly surprised. There's a little bit of a spoiler here. I was definitely surprised when I saw it and was happy. So why don't I just get into a little bit of the history, and then we'll have you talk about what it looks like. So the first matchup was in 1888. So this is. Oh, never mind. I'm not going to go too ahead of my own notes here. So the first matchup was in 1888. It was a 0-0 tie. Miami won the next three meetings by a combined score of 64-6. Although Cincinnati has won the last 16 straight. So the series lead is actually Cincinnati leads 60 wins to 59 losses and seven ties. So this is a very, very even rivalry over the years. I mean, obviously recently it has not been, but over time it has been. So the Victory Bell is the oldest current non-conference college football rivalry in the United States, although they briefly were conference rivals in the late 40s and early 50s. And
I would have thought more recent than that. That's interesting. All right.
yeah. And Jimmy Nippert, the namesake for the Bearcats home stadium, died of blood poisoning after suffering a spike wound injury in the 1923 showdown between these two schools.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I know. So it's like historic Nippert Stadium, and you always hear that, even though
Yeah.
you're like, really out of Cincinnati? But Jimmy Nippert himself died after playing this football game. So
It's a great field. It is an awesome stadium.
So I've been to Cincinnati, but we did not get, because the campus is a little bit north of where like the stadiums and stuff are, the professional stadiums. So we didn't get to go up that far north, but I really wanted to. I wanted to check it out.
Yeah, it's a cool place. Obviously, it's been showcased a lot with Fickle and what he did at Cincinnati and everything in recent years. It's definitely been showcased, but it's definitely a place I'd like to go. I hear it gets very loud. Yeah. The concept of it is cool. So yeah, I hear it. I would definitely like to go see a Bearcats game for sure.
And now that they're playing in the Big 12, there should be some really some big names, some good schools that are going to come through there, which really haven't in recent years because of
that's crazy getting to see like
smaller.
Getting to see like like,
Texas.
But like getting to see like TCU come through there, getting to see Colorado come through there. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, no, it should be good. All right, so on to the trophy. Mike, tell our listeners what this beauty looks like.
It's a big old bell. It's a beefy boy. It's it's cast iron. I assume it's cast iron. You might tell me what it's made out, but it looks like cast iron. Like it's like very similar to like the Liberty Bell. When you think of like the Liberty Bell, it's got like the iron ends, right? And then a big, thing that holds the bell. I'm sure there's a technical name for that, but like the arm that holds the bell that comes across is big and iron. And then it has just a big old bell on it. And then one side is it says Miami, and it has all the years that they've won. And then the other side says Cincy, and it has all the years that they've won. And then the top handle part is red. And they have some years on there. Are those ties? I would assume, because I see like 1918, 1926. Are those the tie years, perhaps?
I'm not sure, but that's probably right. That looks about 7-ish, right? If you're extrapolating.
Oh yeah. So, and then what does it say? I can't make out the lettering on the because like in the iron on the arm it says something. I don't know if that's just the Bell Company or if they engraved something else on it, but
it says number NO period 28 or 20, and then yoke YOKE.
I think is a yoke what it's called that holds a bell.
I have no idea.
It looks like a yoke for like oxen and stuff like that. Oh, screw it up, please. Oh, I thought he was going to route the clock. That would have been awesome. Anyways, yes, the Florida State LSU game is still going on. Thought that the LSU quarterback was going to scramble around, throw the ball in bounds, have a reception with 0 seconds left on the clock. That would have just been tremendous. But instead, LSU is finally kicking a field goal. I think just because the half is running out and it's 4th and 10. So.
Okay, and one of the you got to talk about one of the key things that you haven't explained yet, and I think it's one of the things we really love in a good trophy.
It's beefy.
It is.
It's I mean, it's got a wooden base.
There it is.
Yeah, it's got a wooden base. Yes,
and can be removed from said base.
Yes. Oh yeah. The pictures of the guys carrying it around and stuff like that. I didn't see a picture of it on
the second picture. Base. Yeah, keep scrolling. Did you not see? I thought I included. I mean, I have one in mind. Are you sure it's not in?
I see the guys carrying it. Let me see.
I have a Cincinnati picture of them holding it with it on its base.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so it can go off of that?
Yeah. See how they're just the third picture.
There's only 2. I only see 2.
What?
Let me refresh.
Let me copy this into the.
I only see
notes.
2.
What the hell?
I've got the Cincinnati guys carrying it.
Well, why don't I? Oh, son of a bitch! How did that one not go in there? I must have accidentally deleted it. Here, adding it now. Paste, please.
I've only seen it being carrying around the field, so that's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen the base that sits upon.
Okay, well, apparently my paste isn't working, but yes, it can be taken off of that base. So where the ends are, you can kind of see in that picture with the Cincinnati guys. It has like a more of like a cylinder, like a skinny cylinder, where it goes into that black metal base. It can lift from there.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm looking at other pictures.
Yeah, you seeing it now? Sorry, I don't know why.
It's a functional bell. There's people ringing it as they're walking around the field. That it's just tremendous.
Yeah.
Imagine making something not functional.
Oh well, you'd be surprised at how many. And you wouldn't be. The listeners wouldn't be surprised. People wouldn't be surprised in general at how many trophies that might look really awesome and just needed like one extra thought to make it functional and make it that much better. All right, so the first game of the series. A bell?
Let's hear about. Let's dive in.
So the first game of the series was played on December 8th in 1888. A lot of 8s there in Oxford, Ohio, and it was the first college football game played in the state of Ohio. A little fun fact there. And the original bell hung in Miami's Harrison Hall, so they're kind of Old Main, and
I believe Harrison Hall was actually named after one of the founders of Phi Delta Theta, my fraternity. I could be totally blowing smoke on that one, but Miami's also the cradle of fraternities, and again, Ohio, a lot of things come from there. But the Miami triad is Phi Delta, Beta Theta Pi, and Sigma Chi, I think. They were all founded in the same year. Let me see. Phi Delta got kicked off of Miami's campus because of a drug raid.
Oh.
Fun fact, yeah. Beta Theta Pi, Phi Delta Theta, and hold on. Sigma Chi. Yep. All 8, well, not in the same year, sorry. Very close. 1839, 1848, and 1855.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. Harrison's one of our founders, so it could be. Anyways, go ahead. Continue.
So the original bell hung in that hall in Harrison Hall near the site of the first game and was used to ring in Miami victories. However, the traveling trophy tradition began in the 1890s when some Cincinnati fans borrowed the bell. And so the bell went to the winner of the annual game for the next 40 years until it mysteriously disappeared in the 1930s.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
Now, the original bell reappeared in 1946 and was displayed on the lobby, or just was on display in the lobby of Miami's Merstein Alumni Center for years. So the current trophy is a replica of the original trophy, and it is kept in the possession of the winning team each year. One side, as we talked about it, painted it black with the white numbers showing Cincinnati's victories, while the other side is white with the red numbers showing Miami's victories. And ties are indicated on the top of the red yoke. There you go. I guess we're answering all of our questions. There we go.
Here. Yep.
On top of the red yoke in the white numbers. So given the proximity of the schools and many enrollees and alumni from the greater Cincinnati area, from 1909 to 1970, the game was exclusively played at Cincinnati's Nippert Stadium rather than hosting it in the more rural Oxford, Ohio. From 1912 to 1960, the game took place over Thanksgiving Day weekend. It is, so that makes it a featured part of Thanksgiving traditions for fans of both schools, which is pretty cool. I mean, that's about where rivalry weekend is, right? Most of the time is towards the end of the year around Thanksgiving. And Cincinnati students and fans alike would go on an annual pajama parade through Cincinnati the night before the Victory Bell contest, which is kind of a cool little tradition they have as well.
Nice. Yeah, I like that.
So Miami, as we talked about, Miami of Ohio is a MAC school. Some action in Cincinnati has elevated themselves all the way up into the Big 12. So they are non-conference foes. However, they extended the rivalry series through 2029. So they are both committed to preserving one of the oldest and longest played games in all of college football.
I love that.
And the Victory Bell will be hosted at Paul Brown Stadium, which is the Cincinnati Bengals Stadium. And that was in 2018, 2022, and in the future in 2026 as part of a renewed contract.
Nice. I like that. Give them some shine, give them a big place to play. I like that.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome because it is such an old trophy, and it's, I mean, let's be real, people here. You would not care at all, and maybe you don't. I hope you do now, about a MAC school and previously a pretty small group of 5 school as well. But you know, this goes to show you that you don't have to be a big school to have a kick-ass trophy and an awesome rivalry. So that's going to do it for us for the history. Why don't we get to our rankings?
Okay. All right. Good. So looks for me, it is going to be a 4.5. I still, I'm going to take a half point just because I love everything about it. I just, Bells, they don't have the same love in my heart as like a bucket does, or something like that, but it's cool. I dig it. It's, so we'll give it a 4.5. History. I think they're really solid history. I think a 5, and I think that it's something that obviously the fans have been continuing throughout the years of both schools. There was some thievery. Love me some good theft. So obviously it's been around since 1880s. So a very long story tradition here. It's so that's a 5 for me. The rivalry itself. So this is where it differs a little bit between what we just talked about, right? Like Rice and Houston. And we said, Rice and Houston is an appointment viewing. Miami and Cincinnati is not appointment viewing for me either. However, very tight rivalry, 60-59-7 record, right? They care. Right, like they're doing the pajama party. It's going to be played at Paul Brown Stadium. They're going to continue to watch it, and also MAC and Big 12, that's not that far apart. It is, but it really isn't. A MAC school could come in and make some noise, and also Cincinnati's recently promoted to the Big 12, and we'll see how well they continue to do without Fickle there. So I'm going to say this is a solid 4. because, clearly both teams really care. They're passionate about it. Like, also, in Texas, like, I feel like there's so many other schools that get the shine. I feel like in Ohio, like, even like Miami of Ohio and Cincinnati, like, there's a lot of like pomp and circumstance around them, even outside like Ohio State. And then competitiveness, like, that's a 4, or that's a 5. That's about as competitive as it gets. Like, yeah, it might shift in the future, between as the Cincinnati goes to the Big 12. But MAC schools are no slouches, and the record's super tight. So that's a 5 for me. So overall, this is a top tier one for me. Has a lot of good stuff going on here, and a guy died. A guy died in this game.
It's not just a guy, the namesake
the
of historic Nippert Stadium.
Yes.
Yes. So for me, the trophy is a 5. I was so pleasantly surprised at all of this because, like I said, I had came in with like no knowledge of it. Those two schools are not on my list of must watch ever. So Michigan State hasn't played them, which is kind of surprising because due to the proximity. I mean, we typically non-conference MAC, we have 2 MAC schools in state, so that's typically where those games go. So it was a 5 for me. The history is a 5. I think it's awesome. So where you aren't sold as much on the bell itself, just for a half of a point, I love that it came from the school. It had meaning to the rivalry from the get-go. Obviously, it'd be great if it was still the original bell, but I also love that they preserved the original bell and it still have it. I love that it was stolen and got it back. So everything about the looks in the rivalry just screams 5 for me on both. So the history, of it and the rivalry as well. So I'm going to put that at a 4. And that's again, just because I don't have perspective on whether or not like alumni from both of these schools like hate losing to the other, but I do love that they play.
I would imagine they do pajama parties every year. Yeah.
Well, and that's why I'm bringing it up, because that's my, best indicator recently that it's still a big deal if Cincinnati does that PJ parade. So yeah, I'm gonna put it as a 4, just because I think there could be a little bit of unknowns, but it's still clearly very strong and very old. And then the competitiveness. So I'm gonna take that down a little bit further I'm gonna go with I'm between a 3.5 and a 4, and it's only because while the overall series is close, I mean 16 straight and no relief in sight for Miami of Ohio just gives me pause on what it currently is. So I'm going to go with the 3.5, and I'm really hoping that Miami of Ohio can get competitive in this game, because I mean, Cincinnati has been really good at finding these coaches. That's the thing. You have Brian, as much as we both hate Brian Kelly. I mean, it's hard to argue his success in college football. Mark D'Antonio, Luke Fickell, like they've really had a pretty good stable of coaches, and it's because Ohio's such a good breeding ground for recruits. So,
whereas Miami of Ohio has had good coaches, they have had good players and quarterbacks.
Yes. So I'll put that at a 3.5. Overall, it's a top tier. It really made me smile, to be honest with you. It was one of those ones where I had zero expectation, especially coming off of like the keg of nails, researching that. Then the Bayou Bucket was interesting and fun. And I was like, Victory Bell, Miami of Ohio. What am I doing here? And I was so pleasantly surprised.
Honestly, pleasantly surprised is the perfect way to put it. Like, this is a feel good. This is like a nice little comfort food trophy story. Like, it really is good stuff. Like, they take it seriously. The schools take it seriously. They think it's a rivalry. Not that it is a rivalry that's like still near and dear to them, despite being in different conferences. This kind of goes like to the greater situation of college football that we're in, that we talked about with the pack disbanding, everything like that. It's like, you hope that you see these things continue, right? The Apple Cup, the Civil War, though we can't say that anymore. But you want to see these things continue forward into the future. And I sure hope they do. So
And it sounds like they are. So, I mean, I don't know when this last contract was renewed. I assume it was before Cincinnati decided to join the Big 12, although it's been a couple years in the making. So maybe it hadn't. But just the fact that this is signed through 2029.
You get to play at Paul Brown Stadium.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that it doesn't get bought out because that's always a potential option. But I guess if you're Cincinnati, I mean, if say you really only have 2 non-conference games, I mean, a MAC school, if you're thinking of it like pessimistically and you're thinking, okay, we want a couple easy games if we have a tough conference schedule. I mean, a MAC school typically fits that bill. So hopefully this just is something, I mean, you like to see something, go beyond it. Like I'm pretty sure the Cy-Hawk Trophy is going to survive the Big Ten realignment.
Yeah.
But so you just hope to see that, and in this case, I really think it will survive, and I think a lot of it is the pride of how old the trophy is and how it's like the second running.
I agree. I think the pride of the trophy is a big thing. I mean, honestly, if I'm Cincinnati, I am staying away from playing this game. Right? Because it's like, gosh, like I'd hate to lose this one. When you have a really good team, because like obviously people get up for rivalry games. So I mean I could definitely see Cincinnati deciding, I'm not sure I want that one. I'd rather play like Central Michigan or Toledo.
Sure.
Give me someone else from the MAC. But yeah, I hope it sticks around. It's I think pleasantly surprised is a perfect way to put this one, for sure. So, and something you said too, historically played on Thanksgiving weekend, like that's just, that goes to show where the two schools put this rivalry in their minds, given that you're scheduling at that time. So,
well, I will say though, it was historically, it has not been for a couple decades, but for the majority of the rivalry, it was. But
the fact that it was there for such a long time, that's what I'm saying. So
yeah, no, absolutely. So I mean, we have our new segment. What would you change? For me, not a goddamn thing. I love that it has a base. It doesn't need it, but I'm glad it does to sit there. The base also looks like allows it to swivel, so you can actually ring it, which is awesome. I mean, I love that the scores aren't on a plaque. I love that it's on the actual bell.
Hanging on, yep.
Yeah. Nothing, not a goddamn thing.
Yeah, I painted. That's actually a really good point, EJ, that you bring up that I didn't mention. I do love when they paint it on there, right? Like little brown jug, like that's cool stuff to me whenever you actually paint the scores on there. Yeah, man. I honest to God, when we we started this episode, like, because we had the conversation at the end of the last episode of like, well, we can do full rebuilds here too, and I'm like, well, I ain't gonna be with this next one either. So, I like it quite a bit. So,
okay, so this game is going to be played this year. Like we said, this is going to be awkward for Mike and I to say because this is we're recording this on September 3rd, but this game will be played this week as of
hold on one second.
Week.
Let me jump in real quick. Go ahead. So they're just showing shortest odds to win the Heisman on ESPN. And it showed Caleb Williams, Penix, I forget the other two, but then the other ones, the other two next shortest odds, take a guess at who you think it is.
So this is going to be direct reaction to this weekend. I mean,
yes.
Has Shedeur Sanders made it into the conversation?
Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. Yeah.
Oh, and both of them.
Both of them. Travis Hunter has better odds.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter has better odds than Shedeur Sanders to win the Heisman.
I mean, I'm telling you, man, I thought there was no way a kid, mind you, I know he was the first overall recruit, so it had nothing to do with that. It was just the idea of a player in modern day and a Power 5 conference playing both sides of the ball was something I thought was like maybe a cute thing that Prime was going to let him do, just to keep him happy, but eventually say like, hey, bud, you probably should pick one. I mean, the dude went out and on the road, had 120-ish yards receiving with a touchdown and then had an interception on the other end. I mean, yeah.
Gonna get a hot tub on the plane, according to Coach Prime.
Yeah, I bet you Coach Prime will give him a lot more than that if he asks for it. But yeah, yeah. I
Now
also
Coach
thought it was
Prime's on an
interesting.
Aflac commercial, but
Yeah, the jerseys too. They don't have captain C's; they have L's and D's, and that's for leaders and dogs.
I did not know that.
Yep.
Yeah, I was half watching the game this weekend.
Yes. So this game will be played on September 16th. So I know this sounds awkward because clearly today, as you're listening to this, is the 13th. But yes, so it will be played this week. It is going to be played on the. It says Big 12 slash ESPN plus. I don't know what I guess if you live in Big 12 country, it's going to be just on your Big 12 network. I don't know if that's a thing. Sorry, I feel like
it is.
ignorant,
I mean,
but
they all,
okay.
yeah.
But it will be for everyone on ESPN Plus, which is nice, and it will be played at 7 p.m. So a nice little night game. This year it is at Nippert Stadium. And what are your predictions here? Because I know it's easy to just kind of say, hey, MAC school, Big 12 school, no chance. I will be honest with you. I don't know much about either of these schools besides Cincinnati's clearly rebuilding after Fickle because players naturally transferred, coaching staff changed. I just don't know enough about Miami of Ohio to know if they can make it a game. So my gut says Cincinnati win because they're at home, but I'm hoping and rooting for a really close game.
Well, the only thing I don't know much about Cincinnati. The one thing I know about Miami of Ohio is their quarterback came out and said, we're the real Miami and we're going to prove it this
that's
week.
Right.
And then they lost 38-3 to the University of Miami, Florida.
Yeah.
Love
the swagger.
Yeah, love the swagger. Good try, good effort, kid. But if that's how they're performing against Power 5 teams, I mean, granted that those remarks probably did not help him very much at all. No. So, but yeah, hopefully it's a close one. I mean, I'll always ESPN Plus. I'll throw it on my phone.
Sure.
Night game at Nippert Stadium. That's gonna be cool. So I'll throw it on the phone. I'll give it a watch.
And it's avoiding the week 2 gauntlet. The week 2 is a great schedule for us. Great spread. I haven't looked ahead to week 3, but if I remember correctly, I think it was kind of normalized, right?
Yeah,
a typical one before conference play.
I feel like 4 or 5 years ago, week 1 was great, and then weeks 2 and 3 were crap. For the several years leading up to it. And then 4 or 5 years ago, we saw a shift, whereas week 1, there really isn't much. And I think this year is very much the same. Week 1's not a whole lot going on. Then week 2, things take off. And then week 3, people who had their tough games in week 1 and 2 schedule, cupcake. So hopefully, it might be the case that this, I said it's going to be on my phone, but maybe I'll turn it on the big screen. So we'll see.
Yeah, definitely going to be in my rotation. And maybe it is like whatever the ABC NBC game at night is. And like you said, maybe this will be on my phone just to check in and see what's going on.
Yeah, man, for sure. I'm gonna pull up the schedule here just to see what's going on that week. Let's see. Games that are at 7:00. Oh, well, definitely gonna watch Tennessee, Florida at 7:00. Ole Miss, Georgia Tech. I might tune into that. Ole Miss looks really good, but Georgia Tech's not too bad. So there's not a lot. I mean,
no, they're really not
at
competing.
8 p.m.
No.
Oregon, Hawaii. Hawaii's going to Oregon though, so it's not going to be. So yeah, not a lot to compete with. At least based on I'm looking at top 25. If I look at all of FBS, I'll see if there's anything else that's tickling my fancy for week 3, but I doubt it.
No, I mean you have some interesting ones. I would say BYU at Arkansas.
I just scrolled past that one. Yeah,
it's interesting. I wouldn't say it's something that's gonna keep my eyes the entire game, but
Stony Brook, Arkansas State. That's no, I'm just kidding.
You know what? They actually pulled this is a nice guys. This is your chance. You've never watched these two schools before. I mean, you might have watched Cincinnati because they made the playoff, but you definitely haven't watched Miami of Ohio. Turn it on. Just take a quick little turn on.
Yeah, I would definitely turn this on. Tennessee Florida will probably get a lot of your attention, but that might turn to a blowout pretty quickly because Florida's one of the worst coach teams in the country.
I mean, if you think
week
Graham
one's a
Mertz
representation.
if you think Graham Mertz is coming in and winning you games, then you're mistaken. Sorry, Billy Napier. All right, so that's going to do it for us this week. Follow us on Instagram at whiskers.whiskies, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to check out our Saturday morning pick'em bets. And if you're brave enough, please take us on. Send us your bets.
You don't gotta be that brave. You don't have to be that brave.
Hey, you know what? It took me till week 4 to get a dub, to get one right. It took me 4 goddamn weeks, guys. I went 2 for 3, and it was a close third. I was so pleased with myself. I already feel better. A huge weight is lifted off my shoulders because it was terrible. As the weeks went on, it was like, oh no, I got to get one right here.
I'm carrying. I think the whatever I did, the sins of bowl season last year are still with me. I don't know, man. Maybe it's my daughter. Maybe having a kid, just like I can't pick football games anymore because, oh boy,
week 1 wasn't the greatest.
No.
All right. And also please check out our new website, whiskerswhiskies.com. And again, that's where our college football preview bracket is located. So you can keep track of how our picks are doing. And this LSU Florida State game is definitely a big one for a few of our predictions. So check out the website for that, and also for our ultimate sports travel log. Join us next week when we talk about the Iron Skillet. Ooh, what a great one that is. For Mike, I'm EJ. Always remember, too much of anything is bad, but too much good whiskey, barely enough.
Cheers, boys.